It's October the 20th, 2016.
No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
And I am Dana Durnford, your host, nuclear proctologist. .org, and this is not working for some reason. Hang on. I have to turn the volume up after yesterday. There we go. We're rocking. We're rolling. We're in business. We got a big show tonight for everybody. We're just going to burn through it. And we're looking at around 200 pictures and headlines. Yes, I said headlines. And how the radioactive rain caused 130 schools in Korea. And everybody else said frigate. But hey, 12 million yen to censor anybody that did speak up. And they did. And the radioactive fallout was actually at least 10 times more. Go figure. What the frig? How is that even possible? It's easy. You had multiple meltdowns and it doesn't quite turn to sawdust. Okay, well, let's burn through it, rock it out, and we'll come back. And I think we got a really compelling show for everybody. Hello, everybody in the comments section. How is everybody over there? Hi, Karen, Elaine, Shanikin, Censor, Paul, and Thirst. Hi, everybody. We are pushing back. Let me see. Supergate. In my descriptions under the video is Fukushima Gate. About 4 million emails at TEPCO's or the NRC's website. You can link to it and go through those emails. And a lot is redacted. Hi, everybody. Let's get rolling. We got a really good show tonight. Just make sure I didn't miss anybody. Censor Shanikan, Elaine, M. Thirst. We got a bit of good news today. We'll talk about it a little bit later. Government. Hey, buddy. Hi, everybody. Here we go. Let's roll. There's a rockin' socket and boom thingy. Teddy Gardner counter doesn't show up when I do that. Live with it. So radioactive rain fallout was 10 times more. Gee, you don't suppose it's got something to do with all the melter reactors. Radioactive force, a permanent risk, must be cut down. And every gusto in showers the village forever and ever and ever until that is what happens. Japan's burning Fukushima debris 10 miles from the nuclear zone. So it would go up like the explosion did. And because it's so hot, it'll go up higher. Same thing with the forest fires they have liberating the radioactive isotopes. Unprecedented 1,500 atoms per cubic meter of air when you're walking around in California. And this was the sulfur peroxide hydrogen buckyballs. This is a model of the Pacific Ocean. I just threw it in for something to. Tends to concentrate in the testicles. Lucky you if you're a woman, maybe. 360 atoms of radioactive sulfurs per day. Oh, yeah. Let's keep looking. Workers say ground under Fukushima plant cracking. Radioactive steam coming up. Melted core may be moving. Out of the building. Ugh. Yeah, kind of something like that. Went straight down and melted down to 9,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Nobody knows where it went outside of a few hints, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. The reality is no technology exists anywhere to solve the problem. Nobody cares. Nobody's trying. Molten mass will scorch into the earth, if not cold. That means tritium fissionable water. We absorb water pretty good, yeah? And if not cold, it's China syndrome. Geysers of radioactive steam shooting up for miles around. Probably got nothing to do with that. Who knows? Let's keep going. See, that's reactor 3. That's 6 reactor cores. It's kind of an advanced lesson here for everybody tonight. Workers say ground under Fukushima plant is cracking. Radioactive steam is coming up. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's right. Oh, yeah. I got something to do with that. Are radioactive insects spread in Fukushima contamination for lake bottoms? I love the good old headlines. You can't live without these headlines. I sit there sometimes and I have like little seizures over these headlines, like, ugh, like last night. Yeah, the insects just going into this power plant, taking off and doing shit. Yeah, it's pretty bad. But when your whole country's like it, not so cool. Tokyo soil so hot it should be sent. Gee, I wonder where insects hang out to. Soil got anything to do with that equation? It's really severe. Tokyo, bye Tokyo. You go to the Olympics in Tokyo? Oops. You got to think about everything I'm showing you here tonight. Forget Chernobyl, paper towel. Literally, compared to Fukushima. Don't get me wrong, Chernobyl, brutal. There's a paper towel compared to Fukushima. They're out of control. They're having the Olympics? Really? In Fukushima Prefecture? Really? Huh? Oh, jeez. Has everybody lost their minds? Have everybody just said, frig it? Everybody just thrown their hands up and said, I don't care. Oh, I gotta die. Frig it. Might as well get rid of the healthy ones first. Home to the world's largest drinking water reservoir of its kind. Built to supply Tokyo. No, you're not in deep shit when you see headlines like that, no. Radiation. This is a model, I hope. Yeah, this is a model. So here it comes. It never stops coming out of Japan. See that? Still coming out of Japan. Still coming out of Japan. Still coming out. 21st, 22nd of March, 23rd of March. It doesn't stop coming out. And it's bye-bye North America. Now, if you think North America is bad, imagine how bad Japan is. Where the heavy particles fell throughout the country, as you'll discover in a little tiny bit. TEPCO uses radioactive water from reactor 5 and 6. This is like over-the-top shit. We're talking about 1 billion becquerels a cubic centimeter. And they're sprayed it on the reactor 9,000 degree Fahrenheit cores because they didn't have anything to spray on it. 100 tons a day. Well, the Hiroshima bomb was only a pound. We're talking about overkill. They were trying to kill the planet. They could have stopped after day one. They didn't need to keep going, okay? It's that bad, folks. Trust me, it's that bad. I know I got this gallows joking routine, laughing routine, freaking out routine. It's just because, I don't want to be miserable by myself, so I got to make sure everybody else knows about it. So hopefully a lot of them are miserable too. And I don't feel so bad. Hundreds of tons of radioactive waste found over 500 kilometers from Fukushima. Okay. That can't be too good. Kind of like that. That's game over right there for your country. Each of the buildings, the 4 buildings, had 6 reactor cores at least, minimum. So, that's like 24 reactor cores. Not counting through the 400 kilometers of the coastline. We might get to later, but who cares? They are creating 100 to thousands times more radioactive material with burning debris and keeping it in concentrated form. They're burning it in the incinerators all around the country. This is what a day of burning in the incinerators would look like in our upper lower troposphere, in our jet streams. One great big huge dirty bomb all day, every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week until they get sick of it or everybody dies, whatever comes first. Map shows radioactive fallout from Fukushima in the U.S. The doses in the northeast and the Great Lakes equal to the west coast. And the west coast was about 1 million becquerels a square meter. That's frightening, We're not talking about iodine. Fukushima Daichi goes straight across and hits North America. But the plume was the width of the Pacific. Yeah, I can't remember. I think this was dust, this model. 14th of March. No, that was Fukushima. It was a jet streams model. 250 millibar winds and knots. 250 knots? I'm not sure. But anyway, it gets over in about 3 or 4 days. Have a nice day. The snow that would never melt began falling. We lost our glaciers here in British Columbia. There was something missing. A troublemaker in the picture. Bad. Each flake bringing down cesium on a city of 300,000 people, 60 kilometers from the meltdown. Have a nice day. Have another. These are the sulfur peroxide hydrogen buckyballs. And they're able to ingest the isotopes, the atoms, inside the atoms, from particles, and they're like little nuclear engines. These are different forms they would take. Don't worry about it. Highly contaminated marine snow covered the sea floor at least 2,000 kilometers from Fukushima. Probably never got nothing to do with that, I suppose. The plume was all the way to the upper and lower troposphere and all the way to the ocean floor, folks. And the width of the Pacific Ocean. We're not going to dwell on this stuff today. Or maybe we will. Who knows? Dead whales. This is an appropriate picture for anything to do with the Pacific coastline. If it was visible, this was the conjuring you would think about. U.S. surveillance now suggests that there were flakes of deadly radioactive fuels scattered around the reactor. What does that mean? Well, you're talking about gamma shine and neutron burst and X-rays. And so the suits that workers are wearing, or these kind of suits say, they're not going to protect you because the detonation, right? So surveillance now suggest. I don't need surveillance to understand there's flakes everywhere, okay? But there it is. Have a nice day. Algae is bioconcentrating radioactive material in Japanese city. This is about the Olympics, why you don't want to go there. And why the people there are so crazy. I'm so disappointed in them. They're supposed to be trying, even though they're not human, they should try to act like humans. Because they wear suits and everything. So they should try acting like humans. But by moving the Olympics to Tokyo, the athletes don't deserve that. Their families and friends and puppies and everything else don't deserve that. And this is a slap in your face. It's an insult to humanity to suggest the 2020 Olympics will be held, right? It's too much. We're gone too far. We're completely out of control. And anybody that buys into it, there is no hope for these people in their future because the world is waking up in a hurry. And that Japan has to give up the nuclear dream and give up the Olympics. It's not right to bring people in just because you're frig-ups, just because you messed up. Like it's absolutely unconscionable that you would expect people that work their whole lives, kids really, that have worked their whole life to try to do because they believe in an ideology and a dream, and they bring them in this where in 10 or 20, 30 years they're going to have 1,800 autoimmune deficiencies before they get cancers. And they will get the cancer. There's no way to avoid it there. Anywhere north of Tokyo is cancer. You might think you're going to get away with it. You might think you're special. You might think that you can escape this shit. Well, you're wrong. You're naive and gullible and pompous and arrogant to even consider it. Local official has not collected real black substances, no, because he's run on water. He has only mixtures, not real subjects, and levels still 5 million becquerels. In Germany, they were packaging food up when Fukushima happened, nuclear waste up if it had 5 becquerels, not 5 million, but 5 per kilogram. And France, at the same time on the same day, when the accident happened, their criteria was 17 becquerels a kilogram. They would package it up in a nuclear waste. And just because you can't control it and it's everywhere, don't mean you raise the limit. That's not how this works. The nuclear regulatory has 4,800 people working for them. And every one of them hates me. Every one of them despises me because I tell you stuff like this. Because they tell their friends it's like a banana and a potato chip and walking in the sunshine. But I can't do that. I don't have that. I couldn't live with myself and tell you that. And so as an act of civil disobedience, I'm here all the time. Dana Durnford, the nuclear proctologist, putting his finger in the places where nobody else will. And he's not happy about it. Trust, I don't like it any more than anybody else could like it. It's not what you call a fun job, what I do. But, depending on what you call fun. If fun for you is everybody trying to take a slice off you, kill you, in order to try to kill you, well, okay. Maybe that's me. By the way, that's Unit 4. There's nothing left. It's all gone. The building was taller than that originally. They built this structure here, but they don't touch each other. Yeah, they don't touch each other. They don't touch each other. You know, what do you do that for, Dan? So I can do that, see? You can't do that. I can do that. You know, any bloggers out there can pull shit like I can pull off? No. Because I know style. You wouldn't believe the stuff I got to learn in order to do just what I'm doing here tonight. You wouldn't believe the work it takes. Just to do a live stream each night. And the Japan Times says I'm not scripted. Do they got any idea who I am and what I do, what I've done? Of course they do. Alistair knows. People eating more radiation but not in danger. You can't trust journalism. By the way, every night is going to be like tonight from now on. No more bad boy Dana. I got my fingers crossed, by the way. 96% of Fukushima residents ingested cesium on December the 4th. I didn't swear on it, dip, dub. So, hey. But I was willing to. That's what matters. 50%, 56% in Tokyo, screwed permanently. Catch your pile. Oh, yeah, but it's okay. No danger. Look, a single atom will trigger an autoimmune deficiency illness, injury, heart, liver, lung, respiratory, pituitary, adrenaline, Alzheimer's, dementia, autism, diabetes. 1,800 of these critters will show up before cancer. It only takes a single atom. If you're eating it, it's going to sequester in your muscles, your organs, your bones. If it's in your bones, it's going to be making mutated blood cells, white blood cells, and red blood cells, rather. This is Unit 3. This is 2 million times worse than any current reactor on the planet. There's nothing left. There were 6 reactor cores there. They were used in reclaimed uranium and plutonium. Let's keep going. I'll never get through that shit. We're 60 minutes into it, and we're up to number 50. So I got to do 50 in the next 15 minutes to stay on track. And possibly high. Whose initial? No, I got a picture in between each one, but that's because I'm not scripted, you know. World Health Organization initial report estimated Tokyo and Osaka infant thyroid. Get a load of this one. Like, this is gallows laugh, by the way. At 10 to 100 millisieverts, up to 1 full sievert is tsunami. What? 5 sieverts will kill you. If your Geiger counter said 1 sievert, it'd say, drop me and run. That's what your Geiger counter would say on screen. Drop and run right now. Don't look back. If you drop your wallet, keep running. Don't go back. Just run, man. That's okay. It's only babies, Dana. Yeah, they don't matter. The world is crazy, eh? I'm bad because I worry about these children and these people and the animals and the pets left behind and the victims and the ones who can't visit the graveyards of their loved one. I get that because I'm on the other side of Canada, so I really understand that. Loss of cooling system, meltdowns, hydrogen explosions. Now, the hydrogen they're talking about is totally different hydrogen, what you think of like hydrogen cars or hydrogen power packs. You don't use this shit for hydrogen power packs, okay? All right? You don't. No? Just take my word for it. That kind of hydrogen, that's not water we're talking about. That's why they call it that, to confuse you, see? No rotten trick, trust me. But everything about nuclear is a rotten trick. New contamination map shows cesium deposited 900 kilometers from Fukushima. Hiroshima got contaminated. They can't find the Hiroshima shit anymore. They got too much Fukushima there. I'll prove it to you in a little tiny bit. These are the sulfur peroxide hydrogen buckyballs. These are like little super nuclear atoms size particles. They're 1/10,000th of a meter. If you take a 10,000 divided, if you take a meter divided by 10,000 divided by a million. Divided by a million divided by 10,000. Then a little slow tonight. That ought to left you pretty confused anyway. Have a nice night. You're scratching your head at that one for a while. Government shows surveys Fukushima fallout spread throughout Japan. Now Okinawa, 1,700 kilometers away. Yeah, no shit, Batman. They picked up 30 million one-ton bags just in the communities and topsoil on the side of the road. We're not talking about the debris from 400 kilometers of the coastline wiped out. That was covered in radiation. We're talking about just topsoil, people's gardens, and oh my goodness. 600 kilometers from Fukushima, high levels of cesium detected in Osaka Bay soil. Osaka got hammered, eh? Osaka got the big food action blocks. There's 2 Canadian embassies there. One of those fishery action blocks in Osaka, there's 3 of them. One does $17 billion a year. The other one's around $13 billion a year. And the other one was around $7 billion a year for auctioning. Children with becquerels a kilogram of cesium start to see heart problems because they show up earlier, right? Because cesium sequesters in your muscles and the same kind of those particles. But because they don't, cesium is just a tracer, right? And so it's not a valid study in one sense because they're only talking about the tracer. And the tracer is the least harmful one. That's why they used it for a tracer. Then the typical Geiger counter, and you can't see mine because I'm on this format. We'll bring it up after. Let me keep going because otherwise I'll slack off. You know, I always got to remind myself of the people of Japan with the same hopes and dreams that I do and you do, and for their loved ones the same as we would, and that don't want any more than anybody else ever wanted. They're not necessarily greedy, and it's none of our business if they are. But it is the fact that they don't deserve this, and they have people need someone to come out, and I would love for someone more articulating and more pretty and more pizzazz into them or whatever to show up and, you know, be able to tell the story properly. But I was afraid that would never happen. And so until that happens, I'll always be here. And that I don't want the job, right? But I will be here. Over 1,000 nuclear workers have internal radiation, 10,000 counts per minute after Fukushima, because there's 8 million other species and the victims deserve at least that much. Would we not want that from them if we were in the same boat? Would we want, if we were, you know, we were captured by a corrupt system, would we want other people in other countries that had the ability and the freedom to speak out? Is that not the right thing to do? If you could do it, or you're not truly, not just your Bill of Rights or your Magna Cartas or your constitutions of your America, but even though that is so, that you're obligated, it is your obligation under those charters to keep an eye on the system and to speak out and not be silenced. But yet they create in fear all the time laws, and then they just attack anybody that dares say something. And then hopefully everybody else would learn not to open their mouths. But when you show up like this, they will still attack you. Because the system is so backward, and so instead of going and just arresting the people that want the police to attack you, the police will go and attack you. And so everybody's just brainwashed. Look at this one here. 7 people died on a shopping street in Fukushima Prefecture. Have you, like if there was a shopping street in your town with 7 people in a couple of year period, that was 2012. So in less than a year and a half at most, 7 people had died on one street, which is probably the same street you'll take on the way to the Olympics. So 7 people died on one street. Now, do you think it was an accident that they all happened to die on that street? Do you think it was an accident? Do you think they all had like heart attacks? Do you know of that ever happening anywhere else on the planet? And if that was your loved ones, was one of those 7, what would you be saying right now when you're watching this? Would you say thank you, Dana, for speaking out and keeping those memories alive? Because nobody else was doing it, Dana? Was that what you would say? I bet you would. This is Unit 3, completely annihilated, gone. Everything is gone. 6 reactor cores. Chernobyl was 1/3 the size, and Chernobyl was a 30% meltdown. Chernobyl was graphite. It wasn't the mixed oxide fuel. The mixed oxide fuel is 2 million times worse than graphite, or more. It's reclaimed uranium, reclaimed plutonium from missile silos. Keep going, Dana. Slacking off. Japan Japanese medical experts deeply concerned about children's radiation exposure. See, I bring up all these headlines because I'm concerned. Because I gathered them up into a great big folder of what they've done to the kids. And it's good to mix it up, but sometimes I've done that whole folder. I've never gotten through it all because I got so much. But I've tried. Lord knows I tried. 51% of kids contaminated with cesium at the Fukushima hospital. Some of their clothing indicating high level gamma, and gamma is the worst. And irreversible heart damage for children at 50 becquerels. You start to see heart damage at 11. And hospital presidency people will be healthier after radiation exposure. That's one of these guys' banana nut jobs. Anybody tells you that there's more natural radiation like potassium or something there was from Fukushima are literally crazy, are literally stupid as a rock, or demonic, demented. And let's keep going, because otherwise, you know me, I'll start. Once I start, I could go for 10 minutes. Extreme increase in mortality caused by cardiac disease. And Fukushima death rate might give creeps to some people. Wow, like that? No, that wouldn't give you the creeps. Up 12,600. There was 860,000 excess cancers by 2012 in Japan. It's okay, though. Don't worry about it, Dana. It's over there. No, it's over here, too, dummy. No offense to dummies. It's okay to be a dummy. I'm a dummy on a lot of subjects. Don't feel bad. I'm not saying calling you a dummy in a bad way. Or, I don't know. Make my voice worse. By smoking a cigarette where there was 7,000 chemicals. See, if I was a real man, I'd smoke cigarettes with 7,000 chemicals to support those corporations. But I'm not. I don't like it. Bad enough smoking cigarettes without the 7,000 chemicals. Why would you bother smoking the ones with the 7,000 chemicals? Is anybody's guess. But anyway, this is just a depiction. It's worse than that. The numbers you see in 300 rims, 5,000 of those will kill you. But 300 seems to be an accurate number. It seems to be about 1 million becquerels, especially on the coastline of North America. There was 220 million becquerels per liter of rainwater of the iodine 129. There was 20 million becquerels of iodine 131, because there's 31 times more iodine 129. But these were two different studies in North America, right? That I just quoted. But for iodine 131, there's 10 times more 132, and 30 times more 133 on top of that, iodines. The 132, 133 will ionize and radiate your thyroid gland 9 times more effectively than the iodine 131. Okay? All right? I'm telling you another couple of hundred times. Fukushima mom. 5 hospitals refused to provide medical care to children because everybody had radiation problems. It's like the flu. They can show up right away if you got enough of it. But if not, it's like the flu that don't show up for 10 years. Think about that one. Oh, you got the flu, yeah? What's going to happen? Oh, about 10 years, you're going to get cancer. Oh, but before that, you might get Alzheimer's and dementia. That's the damnedest flu I've ever heard of. That's the way it is, man. We just got updated from the nuclear industry, and they said, tell people flu gives them cancer. Don't worry about it. And the doctor said it'll be confusing if our results are different than the Fukushima medical. Never mind. Pretty sure anybody could probably read my mind that time what I was going to say. But anyway, let's keep going. 30-year-old. I said 30. I just thought it was cool. Trendy. 40-year-old Fukushima radiation worker dies of acute leukemia. See, I don't like it. It sounds too bling. Dana, you look good English, Tina. I don't like good English. Say good here. By good here, I wouldn't care. But good English? What you're looking at right here, they're dead. If you're within 300 feet of this, the neutron burst, the gamma shine, the alpha shine, the beta shine, the neutron burst will affect you, and somewhere in the next couple of weeks, you're going to tip over. And guess what? You're not getting back up. You die. If you stay there for about 20 minutes, you'll die within the next couple of days. And so these were photo ops where they ran out of homeless. Remember that? Remember those? I got to find those, dig up those headlines again. They were fun ones. Send people who don't mind dying. Nothing like a headline like that to start off your morning. Crew members on B-Bird's tour, Justin Bieber. Don't blame me that I don't know, because never mind. They refused to go to Japan for upcoming show in Tokyo. They're like, frig that, man. Like 5 million becquerels a square meter there. And the manager said, good up. Look at that. That's unit 3. The reactor core was up high in the center. All right, I'll just show you more pictures later, whatever. After working in the affected area, 4 workers died. Victims of leukemia. 4 homeless is what they're supposed to say. 4 people who don't speak the language, they're immigrants. 4 people that were shanghaied off the streets, sleeping in their cardboard tents. That's all that goes in there. That's all that goes in there. That's all it dies that we know about. Harvard don't go there and die. Yale don't go there and die. Berkeley's not going to go there and die. MIT ain't going there. Those people with the fire hoses, they're gone. Cesium-137 immediately damages their heart muscle. And I can say that with authority. You know why? Because it blew up and caught fire and blew up. And this is the homeless. That's the only people that goes in there. No scientist is going in there. Rods all over the site. Pound of it will kill you in about a minute. You walk past it, it's bye-bye, dummy. Cesium not slow. No, that's why there was 22,000 excess heart attacks in North America, yeah? Worldwide cancer cases suspected to soar. This was 2014 by 70%. Yeah, if you're lucky, 20 years. See, they do that. They're not going to say over the next 10 years. Everybody will freak out. Red Cross done that, though, right? In 2012. Over the next decade, everybody would have cancer. Keep going. Yeah, it's dead, all right, but how can we get rid of the body? Oh, my God. What will that cost? That's the nuclear industry. It's better to dump it in the ocean, in your estuaries and rivers and lakes and streams, or just burn it in the incinerators than it is to have to pay for it. Why do you think they're burning it in the incinerators and dumping it in your lakes and rivers and estuaries? Do you think it's legal? You don't even think it's moral or ethical? You got a lot to learn anyway. CC-137 plume forecast for North America and Europe up to March 24th. IRSN. And you suck it in. You get it in your water. You absorb it in your body, about 3 liters of it. And you can get 220 million in a liter of rainwater. And then water absorbs in your body like nothing. Fukushima worker has heart attack while working on reactor number 1, 31-year-old. No, anywhere on the site because rods were thrown all over the site. Yeah, everything went boom, boom. Report indicates 5 Fukushima workers most likely received a fatal dose. Yeah, see, a fatal dose, you don't just fall down. Well, you can. Don't get me wrong. You get close to a fuel rod, stand up there for like a minute, you're done. But just walking past it, that's a fatal dose. Having it wasted on you. Your suits can't protect you from neutrons and gamma shine. Suits can't even protect you from radiation. Like tritium and, what's the other one? It'll actually go right out of the steel dive tank. It'll evaporate out of the tank. That's how small we're talking about, but they're so small, so powerful, they pulse every second forever and ever and ever. Keep going. Fukushima worker filmed a plant that was asked to fake documents, underage people employed. Yeah, got to sell them fast before they run out of the homeless, underage immigrants, and people don't speak the language. The situation in Fukushima beyond imagination. What's yours here? I can assure you. We're right across from it. The jet streams come straight here, 3 days. And you don't need the jet streams to get here. Many young and old people dead from heart attacks. Young women died of leukemia. Just say no, right? As loud as you can. That's me. Fukushima Daichi worker died from a heart attack. TEPCO question over fatality right at the plant. Not caused by radiation because he died of a heart attack, but that's what cesium does. It aggregates right to the heart. It's electrically charged. It's a well-known phenomenon. I can show you the studies on the animals. That's what we need in Fukushima. We need a punk rock band. Fatal radiation levels, 10 sievers will kill you, but 5 will kill you, right? You don't need 10. It exceeded 10 because that's all the devices could read. So going in there is having that done yet. It's over. The homeless and the destitute is what they're sending in there. At some point, we're going to have to make a stand. This planet, at some point, is going to have to go to war against these reactors. We're going to have to sacrifice 6 million people or more, or we're going to have to get busy and create the technology. At some point, we will do that. Why are we waiting? We're putting the bullies in charge of metering out the penalties. We're putting the freaks in charge of taking care of our welfare. We're putting the homeless and destitute in charge of doing the most dangerous jobs on the planet ever created, ever known. And they're thrown away and discarded like paper towels. That's your legacy, not mine. We were told by headquarters not to provide medical care for those exposed to radiation, Red Cross. Right? No, it's like a tree. No, it's like a bomb. No, it's like a tree. Reporter says he heard the ambulance coming to Fukushima. They get the homeless 10 times a day. Gallows laugh, folks. Anybody walks past that is dead. There's fuel rods everywhere. That's how this stuff works, okay? German TV interview on Fukushima. More and more people living in highly contaminated places dying of heart disease because of cesium. But cesium is a tracer. There's 100 times more strontium-90. 25 minutes, let's burn. Disease-related death surge. After 311, heart's unable to pump enough blood around the body. Not slow acting. Immediately damages the heart muscle. Think you're typical. Top Tokyo doctor dealing with typical workers. Nuclear workers demand government step in. Some of these people are not able to read, like we've just been talking about. They're just burning them to death, and the fire is invisible. But it's no different than this. The people that are doing the pushing, the people that are standing there decked out in costumes, this is real. This is real life playing out today. And it's an abomination on the human spirit. It's an embarrassment to the future and the past and the present. And it's not tenable. Cesium-137 levels, 100 times normal levels in Osaka. Game over. Not going to turn to sawdust in the morning, okay? All right. 350 miles southwest of Fukushima, all kind of shit. Found a tracer, 134. The 134 got a 2-year half-life. And you know, chain reaction is ongoing. But that was 2011. Yeah. So they found 137 with a 30-year half-life. 100 times harder than usual. There is no usual. It's a tracer, by the way. Fukushima. Osaka detects radioactive substances in sewage sludge. People are pooping out cesium. They're not even looking for uranium, which is what the reactors run on, or plutonium, or the americium, or the neptunium, or the, who cares, 12,000 isotopes. I know. I mean, that's the most frightening headline imaginable. They got sewage plants all over Japan where they can't get rid of it because it's like 100,000 becquerels a kilogram. They used to use it for fertilizer, but they can't do it with anything. It's just miles and miles of sewage in these big 1-ton bags. I'm not kidding. The country's destroyed, and we are too. We got to fight back. We got to make the stand, Earth's last stand. You think I want this job here? Knowing how bad this is going? Knowing what they're doing now to try to hide it till it's too late? There's no way to turn the clock back? Is that the human spirit? We give up and lie down so that a bunch of idiots can get a paycheck? If you're not going to fight for your life, why don't you just get off my planet? Why are you on this planet? You got to fight for your own life. You can't depend on me or anybody else to fight for your lives. You got to get into that fight. You got to make a stand. You got to get knowledgeable and educated so you can console your friends and your families and your loved ones as the story comes out. Have an extinction event playing out that ain't going to stop, and we can't turn it off. We're not even trying. We won't even recognize and admit we got a problem unless you're talking to people. There is a lot of voices out there speaking out, but they're drowned out by the ninnies and the keep going, Dana. But like you're being taught in school is like a banana. You're taught in your universities is like a banana for 70 years, and every animal died in every study for 70 years. No one would want my job, okay? No one would want the task that I assigned myself. No one would want to go and do the whole coastline like I done. All of these are insurmountable things. It's just incredible, difficult. Any of them, but all together, it's just mind-numbingly. It's a passion. It's a mission. Cause. Call it what you want. I call it desperation, okay? We have to surmise that the radiation may have spread to Osaka. Check your sewage lately. And this is the top of the torus of reactor 4. It's down on the second floor. It's supposed to be up around the 7th, 8th floor minimum. Not connected to anything. That's not a reactor sitting at or something, right? The whole, we showed the pictures of it where it's on the side of the building. And the reactor core is in the top center. So the reactor core was blown right out of the building. World Health Organization initial report estimated Tokyo and Osaka, we already done that one, a full seaver. 5 sievers will kill you. You will friggin' die in about 40 minutes to 2 weeks at the most. We're talking about children. But there's a study that we talk about regularly here in this site. Is not one, supposed to be 3 in a million children with thyroid disorders. That's considered like pre-Fukushima accident studies. But a year later, it was 13,646 out of less than 40,000. Not out of 13,646 out of a million, even though it was supposed to be 3 in a million, that would still be horrible, okay? To show up that fast, that soon, that quick, that early, et cetera, et cetera. And they tested equipment in other prefectures that weren't highly radiated yet. They weren't burning it in the incinerators yet, so to speak. And they had really low numbers. But in the Fukushima prefecture, that was the numbers they had. And so they've been out there trying to muddle the water on that one. And Professor Kathleen Higley and that other critter from UK, I've done a couple of videos, but I can't remember her name off the top of my head. I'll get it in a few seconds when it's too late. This is what your media is doing to your loved ones and your friends and your families and your co-workers. This is what media has done forever and ever, sucks your brain out. It just gives you gibberish conjectures. Government afraid to tell the truth, radiation 10 times higher than officials claimed. All of Japan is highly radiated. Government simulation showed radioactive plume of krypton over Tokyo. And it turns right away into really dangerous radioactive isotopes. When it decays, I can't remember, it was like 4 days or something, was it? Half-life for krypton. And then it decays into an isotope that takes 17,000 years to switch. They couldn't call it krypton rather than the technetium or americium, whatever it is, I can't remember. Plutonium, is it? I can't remember for the life of me tonight. There's so many of these figures. Reactor number 3 with MOX exploded on March the 14th. There's the pretty little fella right there. Bless your little heart. Thank you for killing this planet. One building, 40. Think about 4 buildings, 30 million one-ton bags. A one-ton bag in the back of a pickup truck, bumper to bumper, scratching each other's bumper. There's 5 lanes of traffic around the planet. You got nowhere to put it. You got no way of treating it. You got no way of getting rid of it. So they want to make highways of it now. It's kind of like the Olympics, right? We got to stop that. That's as stupid as it gets. Oh, we got to try to rebuild life in Fukushima. No, you don't. You got to run. You got to move out of there. That's the only acceptable thing. Saying we got to rebuild life there is to give up. And the chicken necks are not allowed to make that decision for everybody else. The pinheads in government in Japan are not allowed to make that decision, no matter how pompous you are. You are arrogant, never mind, ain't it? All the fun, I'm not allowed to have fun, I'm just allowed to do stuff like this. 700 microsieverts of radiation parts of bridge made in whatever. Serious concern. No, really? I think it's more like screwed. Whatever. Osaka detects radioactive substance. I love that one. That's my favorite headline. Every time there's one with sewage, I'm like, ooh. It won't be much longer because we're almost 6 years. So all the animals were usually dead within 5 years. So, but they were only getting one inhalation. They weren't there eating it all the time, drinking it, and shower and cooking their food into it. It's gonna be bad, folks. They're gonna blame it on Ebola or something because there's gonna be about 1 billion people drop dead within about a 1 year period coming up. And Alzheimer's going to be over the top, and diabetes. And the 1,800 autoimmune deficiencies are now gone into full second gear. Pneumonia is a bad one. It'll show up early. Once the pneumonia shows up, you know that 5 or 10 years from that, you're done. Recent 30-foot wave in Washington. So, like, you got all these power plants built on big lakes and rivers. If they have a landslide, you can lose a power plant. Wreck your country. No, Dana, it's too cheap to meter. Don't get me started. Radiation is concentrating on the surface. Oh, shit, I got to get going. 15 minutes to go. My apologies, everybody. Let's keep moving. Can't decontaminate concrete, asphalt. Got to remove that shit. Got to tear up all the asphalt all the way. Everything north of Japan got to be torn up before you have the Olympics. Everybody's hot right down there now. So this black substance, we see that throughout the whole northern prefectures. And it's 1 million becquerels minimum, usually 5-6 million becquerels a kilogram. Cesium is just a tracer. It's just something we have calibrated for the Geiger counters. And I'm not going to bring up my Geiger counter till the end of it because I got to go back to the set. Okay, just for a second. I'll come back over. My cigarettes don't have 7,000 chemicals. See the Geiger counter up there? That's almost a unisiever an hour in my house, but it'll show it up higher than that. I'll leave it up there, but I got to get back. Well, let's try it this way. I can't zoom in, but I can do that. And then I can zoom back. Let me get the Geiger counter once in a while, booming in. And now you got 2 Danas. Is that too much? Is it too much to have 2 Danas? I can't tell the difference. Can you tell the difference, Dana? Can't decontaminate it. Didn't I just cover that one? I must have slipped it in a second. Safe green nuclear power. Can't you got to tear up all the asphalt in your country after an accident. But it's clean and the green is too cheap to meter, Dana. More journalists toward Fukushima. We don't believe they were actually there, right? And CNN and ABC, and there's Australia, all the correspondents in Asia, right? Allegedly. We think it's green screen, but who knows? More journalists told to stay on the metal plates so the radiation is shielded somewhat. I wouldn't have told them nothing. I would have said stand over there in the mud. People in Tokyo, the black substance is here. It's just me, okay? It's because they came out and said they were inside a Unit 4. If you go inside Unit 4, you can never come out. You can't make it in there anyway. You'll die. But you'll never come out if you did. You had a big slide and you slid in there and you had to run out. You won't get out. You die. That's where you stay. No one going in to get you either. It's like 1 million sievers. 5 will kill you right on the spot. That's why they only send in the homeless and destitute and immigrants and people out there looking for day jobs. Because they're out of control. And this stuff is everywhere. Let's keep going. 3 million becquerels detected on the road near Fukushima plant, but they're going to have the Olympics there. People will be driving down the road and get out and see something, take a picture, and they're going to be standing up on that. Game over. Yeah, it might take 10 years, 20 years for it gets them if they live a really healthy life. But if you live within 15 kilometers of 15 miles of a nuclear power plant, there's 6 times more breast cancer. 6 times more breast cancer. Let me repeat that one for you. More on reactor number 2. If it catches fire, all bets are off. And reactor 2 is the one that looks like it's intact, but it's gone. They shot the muon through it, right? And it showed that, it did show that there was radiation in the top part of the building, but that was signature radiation. So radiation of that type, these gamma shines and alpha and beta emitters, heavy neutron bursts and stuff like that. Well, like it's like a screwdriver. You can charge, magnetize it on your car battery. The radiation does that to material. And so when they shot the muon through, they found radiation. They were saying it might be some of the fissionable product. It was just part of the It's a structure that come in contact with the fissionable product when it melted through. We know for a fact it's gone because we got the headlines on it all. We flushed this out a couple of years ago, but we're still going strong. 14,000 deaths. That was upgraded to 22,000. These were mostly heart attacks that abnormally spike in North America. And there's lots of people protesting nuclear. Lots of people get it. It's not just day now, okay? 25 times more Fukushima fallout detected in Tokyo Bay mud. But happy Halloween. Mayor near Fukushima lost almost all of their body here. Nosebleed hasn't stopped. Now, he died after, right? The same guy. Flakes fell like snow after the first Fukushima explosion. It was like a movie. No, it wasn't. All the sailors on the ships, the Navy sailors, their digital watches all stopped at the same time. That's a deadly dose. That's why 400 of them got vicious illnesses, and people have died of vicious cancers and lost their testicles. And people were defecating over themselves in the hallways of those big ships with 5,000 people on board. Gross as it sounds, the toilets were all plugged up. Everybody was violently ill because they got hit with such a big dose. This was brutal. They've taken the USS Ronald Reagan in and decommissioned it 3 times, right? It's in for his 3rd time right now. They just grind everything down. You can't decommission it. It's all through the air ducts. It's all through the whole ship. Everybody was contaminated. So they live in that sphere the whole time. If you're inside of it, you're in a highly radiated environment. That's why it's gone in for its 3rd decontamination. They even had tours where they went into cities and let people walk around on the ships. Demented. Out of control. Contamination, the entire ecosystem is contaminated, folks. And you shouldn't go anywhere there. These signs should be everywhere north of Japan. Tokyo. Tokyo should be abandoned. Tokyo is supposed to be abandoned. Under any other jurisdiction, Tokyo would have been abandoned. Tokyo is a nuclear waste site. Tokyo is more radioactive than a normal waste site in North America, by far. Broken pieces of nuclear fuel rod outside the reactor coup. Covered up by the bulldozers. That was from Unit 3, yeah? Have a nice day. It's burned through a bunch. We haven't got much time left. Reports of nuclear fuel rod pieces being ejected from Fukushima reactor. Have you seen pictures? But hey, of course it was. The fallout was spiked to 349 million from cesium, but cesium is just a tracer. It's just emblematic of 12,000 other isotopes. But that's the ones all the studies are based upon, the tracer, to keep it hidden away. That's why they tell you like a banana potato chip walking in the sunshine. Iodine lives for 15 million years. You had 220 million becquerels of iodine, 129 per liter of rainwater in North America, right? Here in British Columbia. Game over. Can't see it, smell it, taste it, hear it, feel it, pick it up, throw rocks at it. But it gets you 5, 10, 20 years down the road. Because we got so much, it's more dangerous. It's much more dangerous to live in a low dose environment. Not that we're living in a high dose environment. You know, because you can see my Geiger counter, right? 97, right? 55 is an evacuation zone. But we've seen it up over 400 here. I made videos and put it out there last month about that. A radioactive fish, 400% of the government limit found 200 kilometers inland. Yeah, but I mean, 400%, there is no safe limit. Like anybody eats any of the fish, you get some 10, 20 years down the road. And the more you eat, the more it gets you, the worse it gets you, the more taxes your body, the more it breaks you down, the more autoimmune deficiencies, illnesses, injuries can manifest and diagnose long before the cancer. Highly contaminated fish detected in Fukushima rivers and lakes, 25 times illegal. People are still fishing those rivers and lakes because they believe the government. It's criminal what they got done. It's just unforgivable what they got done. Fukushima chief calls out Mayday. Number 3 went up. Yeah? You see that go up, you're yelling Mayday, trust me. The main office is like, we're going out to lunch. Extremely radioactive rubble. See, the word extremely radioactive is never appropriate. It's the word deadly. That's the only words you can utilize. Millions of gallons of highly radioactive water accumulating on the site. Yeah, go green, go nuclear. How is nuclear green? It's just this industry pumping that shit out there everywhere, but there's no science there whatsoever. Major sources of ocean contamination in Fukushima not revealed. Nuclear waste exits from cracks. If that's all it had was cracks. Have you seen pictures of those freaking things? Crack. The fuel pool's got no containment. And they're not even there anyway, so that's 5 reactor cores for each building. We had an event. We better buckle up. We better smarten up. We better get busy. We better get people awake and come up with solutions, mitigations, and way forward. Major source of ocean. I would rather spend all my time doing that, but I can't. I got to wake up the planet. When the planet wakes up, then I'll go and start producing mitigation and everything else for people. In that context, I'll start hunting it all down. We got to stop the reactors in Japan. Nothing is more important. Warning, the worst is yet to come at Fukushima. There's nothing more important than we got to stop the reactors. At some point, we're going to do it. At some point, we're going to, whatever species, whatever amount of humans are left on the planet in the near future, they're going to say, hey, don't matter what we're doing, we don't stop the reactors. It's as simple as that. Deep underneath the nuclear plant, a massive pool of contamination believed to be headed towards the Pacific Ocean. That's your old shit plan, by the way. It's built by the ocean and run. Hopefully the core goes down, the ocean comes in and covers it up, or the river or the lake or the whatever they're using. That is their backup plan, right? That's their old shit plan. The dust monitoring fallout investigations are evidently fake. You know, the pilots couldn't dump it, but in Chernobyl, all 600 of them died. All 600 of the pilots died. Go look up the stats on World Health Organization, you won't see it. Go to Harvard and they'll tell you about it. It's actually, they talk about it. And I play the video sometimes, right? 300 times more radiation released into the atmosphere from burning debris than claimed by the government. You can see it, that's what it would look like. You can't. But that's what's happening to you, but it takes a long time to die. It doesn't just kill you right away. Please get rough with citizens instead of the lawyers and the manipulators and the murderers. Forget about the freedom of speech. That's only for people who can afford it. Japanese professor arrested, publicly opposed to burning of radioactive debris. Now, see, that's a good Japanese. He's worth fighting for. He's worth standing alongside of. He's a hero. He's a model. And he's a victim. Is the government trying to contaminate all of Japan? And all of North America and the Pacific and the Atlantic? Because that's what they've done. 30 million tons of nuclear waste. We're not talking about the stuff they dug up and put in bags, okay? We're talking about nuclear waste in Fukushima alone. The spontaneous combustion because of the rods. No, it's hell on earth. We live in hell on earth from here on out. There's no sanctuary. We're all in the same ship. We're all sinking. We all better act to enhance each other synergistically, or we're going to pay an unbelievable price. We might think we're invisible. We might think that this stuff is not going to affect us. We might think that we're safe, but it's just not so. Concern theories are cracks in the Fukushima reactor buildings. Yeah, I think there's cracks in that. Highly radioactive mystery object found, rumored to be pieces of the reactor fuel building, 15 kilometers from the plant. Well, you see what's left. Yeah, there's a really good chance, right? That was a huge detonation, man. The AP reporters reported on it 25 miles away, right? When it happened, they felt it 25 miles away. The true fuel rod is just like miles away. That's murder. Walking past it 2 weeks later, you're dead. Highly radioactive lake built up in the depths. We got enough time to finish a few more. Yeah, let's bang off another couple. So close to getting through it. That's the hell you're looking at. Fukushima have a bigger effect on the environment than we expected. And we don't know what's happening. No, because you're lying to everybody constantly, deceptively. The uranium, uranol peroxide, enhanced nuclear fuel corrosion in seawater. Mind-boggling cesium levels. Right, the reactors run on uranium, plutonium, not cesium. But hey, whatever. That's reactor 3. Yeah. Reports of radioactive black stuff in Tokyo. Yeah. Yellowish residue in Tokyo was pollen. There's like 1 million becquerels a kilogram. Radioactive waste is everywhere. They don't know what to do with it. Locals near Tokyo unable to handle such a high level of radioactive waste. Yeah, no kidding, Batman. The Tokyo tap water's in a crisis. Yeah, it's over with. You can't drink the shit. But yet they're telling people that they don't find any there. The worst people on the planet. They're working hard to lie to everybody. Enormous spread of radiation, 150 millisieverts. Game over. You do not want to be there. You run away. That's what the Geiger counter says. Drop me and run. Resident forced to dump nuclear waste in the parks. Is the industry making fun of you? And Fukushima workers dumping it in in the rivers, lakes, and estuaries from the very beginning in the Pacific Ocean. Radiation is hell. Triple May levels, this is 2011, it increased because they were dumping it in the rivers and lakes and estuaries, taking it from Fukushima to other parts of Fukushima. George Bush says there's something wrong with that banana, but in reality, it's a corn on the cob, see? Dumping Fukushima radioactive water is the only government solution. They got no solution. Here's your solution. Start walking off that podium and let it fall, man. Let them go. Let the chips fall where they may. Just don't take no for an answer. Don't back down. Don't walk away. This is not going to go walk. Oh, we only got 3 left to go. Might as well finish them out. Here's the idiot of the world. Home to the world's drinking water reserve. And we've evolved into idiots. And the Fukushima, when he called out Mayday, Mayday, he called it out. And this is what the media done. They come out and tell you look like that, when in reality it looks like the other building. That's the reality. That's the reality you're dealing with. There's no shortcuts around that. Hugs for everybody. Good night, everybody. My apologies for everybody. I'm a minute over schedule. If you can sue me, I'll plead out. Nostalgic. CJ, Karen, M. Thirst, Mindy. Hello, everybody. Good night, everybody. Shanikin, M. Thirst, Pam. Hi, everybody. Thank you for dropping by. Thank you for finding the time. Thank you for being knowledgeable. Thank you for being on this planet. And thank you, more importantly, for standing alongside of me in this long, grueling battle. We are the winners. We are victorious. We are the winning team. Come on board and join us. Do you and yourself and your friends and your morals a favor and join that winning team, which is right here as many times as humanly possible. We are the victors, and we will have our spoil. Hugs for everybody. Don't forget, we don't do this for something to do. We do this for you. We do this for the 8 million other species on the planet. And that if we don't do it, then who will? Who wants the job? Line up. You don't see them. Therefore, 2 Danas is too many. 1 is just enough. We sign off. We had a good day. Looks like we're going to fill up the stadium. It's actually a complex to take 700 seats. And we figured out a way to fill that place up for the next lecture coming up in a few weeks. We'll keep you informed. We just got a lot of good news today on that side of it. We've worked nonstop. And we will continue that trend with every fiber in our body. Hugs, everybody. Take care, folks. We'll see everybody for another stream before the week is out.